We're live. What's up, boys?
How's it going?
Well, living the dream.
The chat.
That T-shirt is on point, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't get tickets. I think my strategy will be like day of.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way to go, I feel. We don't have Ben today. The only excuse for being late to a call or not showing up is sales. So he's out there selling. But I think we can do it pretty. Yeah, deals never say. I think we can do damage just the three of us. So still valuable.
For sure.
So we'll wait a second while people join in. For those of you that are already here, hit the chat, drop a link to your storefront. Tell us a little about your brand, where you're calling in from. Love to hear about all of that, really. And then while you guys are doing that, what are we talking about today, boys?
We're going to dive into some landing pages.
It's a juicy one.
Yeah, I was saying to Elliot, I'm literally laying one out right now. We're getting
Did you time that?
I didn't. Our sales are, last year it was like 90% reports, 10% landing pages. Now it's like 50-50. So it's just more common. And we're getting a lot more pages for service companies, SaaS companies, not just direct to consumer, which is good.
I didn't know you guys worked with non-e-commerce brands.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Sick. I'm gonna hit you up.
We've haven't really put too much on our site yet because we've tried to keep it pretty e-commerce focused. But yeah, we've got probably, I would say 40% of our clients are non-e-commerce, whether it's lead gen, SaaS. We've done apps, like lots of different app type stuff before.
I don't know if I should be offended because you haven't asked us to work together, or you should be offended that I haven't asked you for a landing page.
Well, I don't know if you know the history, but we were working with Ben right at the start of Platter. So we were kind of helping advise on the brand stuff, the initial site, and that sort of thing. And we're small investors as well. Disclaimer.
Love to hear it. I'll just keep making you richer then. That's my goal. Cool. Well, Shaun, now we've waited a couple minutes. People will still pile in. That's fine. For those of you that's just joining, drop a link in the comments with your brand, where you're calling in from, say hi. But over to you, Shaun. I wanted you to kick off. And what would your intro be to e-commerce landing pages?
That's a tough one. I think the main thing that we see with landing pages, and it's pretty common now, everyone's at least trying them out for the most part, is thinking about the flow you're currently pushing to your website. So maybe you're pushing them directly to a product page, or you're pushing to a home page or a collections page, and essentially thinking through wherever they're landing, what are the next steps they're taking. So if they land on the home page, they might come from home, then find a collection or a product, then product page, then checkout. What we're trying to do in the landing page is simplify that flow into a single page flow versus multiple pages a lot of the time. And if they're landing on the endpoint, like the product page, the goal is really testing out new flows, new positioning of how things are displayed on page and the flow of information. So a traditional product page maybe is where you're pushing them normally. Starts off with your standard e-com product page header, where it's images, little intro, title, add to cart. First step would be reconfiguring that kind of buy box. What could change there? What could we test there? And then generally just, what if we flip that? What if we told a story about the product first and then surfaced a buy box? Testing different flows of the page information. But really all you're trying to do is finish the story of whatever ad you're pushing them to. So if you're positioning one product, then that landing page is speaking to that one product. If you're pushing a collection, it's speaking to that collection. If you're pushing the brand, it's speaking to that brand, and then pushing them off to the right area. I think a lot of times people view it as the only place they should be driving traffic, right? They just test landing pages constantly. And we really try and frame it with customers as like, instead of messing with your site, use landing pages to test theories, test ideas, see what's working. And then when you see what's working, implement it in your site. Then take your next idea, build it into a landing page, see what works, see what doesn't. Whatever works, move it into your primary site. You always want to be iterating, I think, your main site as much as possible and optimizing it. But I like testing all those theories on landing pages instead of your kind of primary domain.
Again, some good questions to roll in. I'm gonna put this up on the board when we get there. I selfishly have a few like theory level questions before we get into the nitty gritty. I think my first one, I have a take on this, but I would love to hear your guys' one as well. Why do landing pages exist? Like, why can't you just send to your core website?
I mean, a lot of people view a landing page as this separate tool, separate platform. So if you're using a really flexible theme, landing page is just all it is a new page, right? It's taking an existing page or existing information and testing a new flow of information, or testing new headlines, or testing new imagery, or whatever it is. It can just be a page on your site. It doesn't need to be in Replo or in a tool necessarily. And I know Platter does a good job of letting you build these in your site, but I think the main reason to be using it to kind of Fletcher's question there is you're really just trying to test out new theories. Like if you have specific ads you're running or a campaign you're running, sometimes it doesn't make sense to update your homepage for one offer, right? Maybe you have 10, 15 SKUs and you have one offer that you're doing, like a sale on a specific thing. You don't necessarily want to dilute your homepage for everyone else when that offer is really for a targeted ad set. So the real reason is just targeted pages with targeted content based on a specific ad, which, as I mentioned, that can be done in your site. But generally, a landing page is just somewhere that is not accessed through the desk, like through your navigation. It's just a separate page strictly for an ad set.
One other thing that we see a lot of brands doing too, that it allows some flexibility on your brand. If you're going to implement on your main site and you try to take some, like we've got brands that sell to a wide range of ages, for instance, like we have like a shoe brand that they can kind of work for anybody. They're pretty cool. But if your site kind of can't speak to everyone, or has to kind of speak to everyone rather, landing pages, you can kind of like, be flexible with the brand to target certain audiences based on your ad sets. So if you're trying to go, 45 to 60 female, that design of that landing page can look different than your site because it doesn't need to be as consistent, whether it's imagery, copy, even colors sometimes. So it allows you to kind of flex to different audiences and not break your brand on site.
Yeah. On the point of like brand marketing versus like the function of landing pages, something that's always helped me in e-commerce in general, website optimization, which is our bread and butter, but like landing pages specifically, is like, this is a sales asset. If someone's made it there, do not continue to market to them. The marketing is done. There's either they click a link in your email, an ad, wherever is the source of traffic that is driving that, the marketing channel that is driving that traffic. When you get them to a landing page, the reason for using a landing page is it's like the world's best salesperson. So you want clarity, you want to answer all objections, you want to make it dead simple to press the minimum amount of buttons to go from that buy box to checkout complete and order confirmed. And what I see a lot of people make mistakes is, this is true for websites and landing pages as well, is they just start to build another marketing asset. And it's got all this stuff that is related to the lifestyle side of it, all, which is great. You should have that. But the role of the landing page is to like take it home, get the sale. And like that's a principle that I think a lot of people have to like use. And it's like a decision-making heuristic when you're trying to be like, should we put this here? Does it accomplish that goal? And if it's no, then it's probably something you have to do in your marketing and not on your landing page.
Yeah, keep it very focused, right? Like there shouldn't be a lot of exploring when it comes to clicking on an ad and going to a landing page. It should be like, I was interested in this. Now you're giving me everything I need about this, but I'm not going to have decision paralysis looking at this bundle pack that you offer and going through your About Us page and all of this stuff, right? Keep it consistent and then upsell them in email flows afterwards or post purchase. Or for specific things. Like I just got off a call with a guy who's airing on Shark Tank in a couple of weeks. And it's like, as opposed to sending them to the main site to screw around, you just gave the pitch on TV, right? The people that are watching it know everything they almost need to know. They're interested in ordering. So like, let's make it a much more simple process for them to purchase. So there's like those outlying events like that too, that make them really powerful.
A lot of the site that Jacob shared is actually a perfect example where a lot of times, when I think of what is a landing page, it's, as I was mentioning on the primary site, you're kind of driving them to different areas depending on what they want. In a landing page setting, the main goal is they're using that page solely, in a lot of cases, to go from point A to point Z, right? From education to purchasing or adding to cart. And a lot of times, if you have a very low SKU count or a simple product, just like one product, 2 products, you don't even need a full website. You need a page, a landing page. And this Lockets one is a good example. He has one product, 2 different volumes of it from what I can see. And it really doesn't require anything more than a single page. So if it works for you, Elliot, we can just take a look at that one and I can kind of give my notes to Jacob on how I would approach that.
What's the URL for it?
Lockets.org.
Right, pull it up and share the screen. We're looking at the right one, right?
Yeah. So this is a good example, and Jacob mentions he's new to Shopify. I think the product is really simple. Its functionality is really simple, and really doesn't require a ton of pitching, right? My kids all have Crocs. They all have Jibbits. Sometimes they fall out. This is a solution for that. I really don't think, you look in the nav, home, products, like contact, blog, about us, search, account. None of those things are needed. You could argue you don't even need a navigation on this site. You should be welcoming them to the brand, right? Solution for securing Jibbits on your Crocs. It's a great intro. It's very direct. It tells me exactly what I'm buying. Show how it works, which if you scroll down, he does on the second fold. I would just autoplay that animation as a GIF in the header instead of the image you have. I think overall, you really want the product and the page to reflect the ecosystem it lives in. So even though your products are just simple, black, kind of boring looking, not in a bad way, but Crocs as a brand and Jibbits, extremely colorful, extremely vibrant. There's so much diversity there. Your brand should be reflecting that, because you've got a really simple product with not a ton of visual interest. Leverage Jibbits, leverage Crocs and the visuals that they have to make it more vibrant. But this page should be, here's the problem it solves. Here's how it does it, right? That simple GIF floating. Here's how Lockets work. And then right now you take them to a product collection, which is the same product in 2 volumes, 7 and 14. So if you click there, I got a pick here, right? You're adding an unnecessary step. Even saying half shoe, whole shoe, that confuses me. Just say 7 or 14. 14 pack, 7 pack.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be a collections page. That, again, this whole site could be a landing page. This should just be, I learn what it is. I learn how it works. I see some visuals of real shoes using them, right? Add some vibrancy, some social proof. And then there should be a buy box. Show it, show a 7-pack as a variant, a 14-pack is a variant. Maybe the 14 is cheaper per unit. Show that, add to cart. There's not a single other thing needed on this site. I don't need an about page. I don't care about your story of how your kids gibbet. It doesn't matter. This is such a simple functional product. Just focus on that.
Yeah.
What it is, how it works, buy it. Here's the 2 volumes. There's nothing else. You don't need any other pages on the site.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the product really sells itself. You just have to have that, that key information that people need. It's not like they're going to go to 50 and other sites to try and compare shop, lockets for gibbets. It's really like, this is solving my problem. This is what it's about. This is how many I need. This is the price. Good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a good example because so many brands, they launch in Shopify, and Shopify does a somewhat poor job of just saying, here's all our templates, use them. And then the base template has all these access points. And so people just, especially people like Jacob that are new to Shopify, they just jump in and they're like, oh, there's a spot for an about page, I better have one. Whereas this could essentially be a 1-page site. And so don't lean into exactly what surface for you, focus on what's actually needed to sell this. And it's not a ton, right? This is the type of product that you have at the checkout at a Crocs store, right? I don't need to know much about it. It locks them in, grab it, put it in my cart. I don't need a ton of education. I don't need anything. So let the page communicate that. Just this whole page website could be 3 sections. And you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
I can't resist giving a few pieces of feedback here before, but I do want to, people are submitting a lot of links and I think we should do that. But before we go into more of them, I would like you to walk me through, Shaun and Taylor. What is your process? Let's say I was a brand that submitted to you today. Before you talk about the nitty gritty, what is your process of going from like a brand, a product, to mapping out, let's say like a wireframe before you even like write the copy or create the images? Like, what's the process?
It's a similar process to designing a website or any page on the site. Every page has a primary conversion goal, right? On your home page, for instance, the primary conversion goal is to get them to a collection or to get them to a product, not to add to cart. From a collection page, the primary goal is to get them to a product page. From a product page, the primary goal is to get them to add to cart. So first question we're always asking is, what's the conversion goal, right? And a lot of times, depending on the brand or what they're selling, it's add to cart or book a call, book a consult, whatever that primary action is. But if we're doing a landing page for a specific collection, the conversion point is get them to a product that they're interested in based on that landing page. So that's kind of the first thing. It's just, I don't ask them what's the, what type of lander do you want? They shouldn't know the answer to that. That's our job. I just want to know what their conversion goal is. And if they come in saying, I want a collections landing page, but my main conversion goal is I want this product out of the cart, well, then we go back and we say, okay, well, you don't need a collections landing page. You need a product landing page that's focused on that one product, and the goal is to add to cart. So that's kind of task 1. And then from there, I want to know what they're doing for their ad traffic, right? Whether it's Meta or wherever, what are you putting in the ads that's pushing them here? I want to know what information they have when they land. Is it just your brand name? Is it your unique value proposition within the brand? Is it a specific product and what makes it unique? Is it how it works? And then they land here. I want to know what they said in the ad so that I don't beat it to death on the page. Because if they saw it in the ad, I don't need to reiterate it necessarily aggressively on the page. And then from there, we're just defining 1 or 2 flows that they can test out to best achieve that conversion goal. It really isn't, to be frank, a super complex process. Obviously that's a little easier for us because we do so many of them. So it's almost second nature to just get a few pieces of info and dive in. But again, it depends so much on that. What is that conversion goal?
Yeah, Elisa, just to answer your question quickly, Elisa, that I had the same thing. My daughter has gibbets. I didn't know they were called gibbets. the easiest way to solve that is just have a picture of the croc with the gibbet, and that'll solve anybody's problems. Because I looked at gibbets too, and I was like, what's a gibbet? Maybe I'm just, not the one purchasing them, so that's why. But I think that first 5 seconds on that homepage hero, if you show it what it's being attached to, you can just use so many assets from what already exists, and they have tons of money for producing assets. So just kind of piggyback on them, and it'll get a lot of the messaging across clear.
Yeah, we're gonna move to this next example, but Jacob, what I would say for that top area, everything below the fold, you should always do this thing called the drunk test. So like squint until you can like barely see the screen. You definitely can't make out words or something. If you can't see a button to buy, if you can't figure out what the product is, even though you're kind of like everything's blurry, you probably have to do a little bit more work. So we're gonna go to our next example. This is from Ty. He's a homie. Calling from New York, working with a skincare brand that has a few SKUs now, but feel it's a little bit too much noise below the best sellers. What do you guys think? So Sebo Skincare, I'm assuming it's a little bit lower here.
How many SKUs do they have total? Let me just see. Probably 5, and then some bundles. I think when you have a low SKU count like this, I think just simply surfacing products on, let's just say that this homepage is your landing page where you're driving traffic. You kind of want to educate a little bit more, right? There's so many different serums, right? Serum is for a lot of skincare people, it's a really specific word, but for a customer, it's a more broad word. There's a lot of outcomes of what a serum does for your skin, right? Is it making it less dry? Or is it making you look younger? Or is it helping you not have bags under your eyes? Whatever. I think the one thing missing here is not necessarily just surfacing products. I think these products are surfaced fine, but what are they doing? Give me the benefits in copy, not just in that image, which I do like these images because they outline a few things, but surface like the outputs people are looking for, right? What do here's our products that do XYZ. Here's our products that do XYZ. Give them a little more context as to what they're buying and what the outcome is, if that makes sense.
And especially, I think even
they're going right from here to the product page.
I think even in the homepage or the landing page hero there, you can probably message more of that. It's like if you give them some of those if there's key benefits on like the entire line, if there's something you're using that is different, you can get to that point right across in the hero image on the landing page as well.
Yeah.
Like one thing I will say is we have a lot of clients that do send all their traffic to product pages, and having this below the buy box of like kind of introducing them to the products, the brand, that sort of thing is definitely helpful. We like to think that not a lot of people get past the buy box, but if you're sending traffic directly there and it's first touch with the brand, don't just have the standard Shopify template of like reviews right underneath. Build that out so they can get that information they would need to get from the rest of the site without having to navigate.
I can do some rapid fire ones just because Ty's at home, so I'm making recommendations here. So I think the first one is never use like a whited out CTA. I mean, experiment people will be like, you have to test this and figure out your own. But like I've always found that you should have like a very strong accent color, or at least just make it the dominant focal point of the entire page. So fill this background, find a color, whatever you have to do, test different options. Just because it kind of just fades into the background here. The other thing, if you're really trying to drive subscribers over one-time purchases, you can have subscribe and save be the default option and have people have to click one-time purchase to switch off of it, right?
Yeah, and if there's an incentivization for the subscribe and save, definitely call it out. Like if there's savings or benefits of being part of it, call it out without having to click it. And make it a little louder if you're trying to get people there first. I know there are some brands that, default one-time purchase to get it in their hands first and then upsell them through email or whatever, but definitely want to see the incentivize, like why I would subscribe and save compared to one time on first purchase.
Yeah.
The other thing is like on scroll, it's great if people have to go down to learn stuff, but if I make it this far down, It sounds silly, but some people are just too lazy to scroll all the way back up the shop, even though they want to. So find a way to have like a sticky call to action bar. I've seen people have like a miniature buy box that kind of follows you as you scroll. Some people just have a jump link, right? So if you're this far down, there's a button that you can press and it'll just like push you all the way back to the top. But yeah, I think this is like a can of worms because we'll want to go on to the next example. But your product page can be a landing page, right? Landing page people are going to tell you that you have to build something fancy all the time. You can't send a homepage or a collection page. It's like demonstrably false. The reason is like most people just have really bad home pages, product pages, and collection pages. So like you could turn this into a landing page just by following a lot of the similar principles that are sales driven.
Yeah. Hey, can you go back to the homepage real quick, Elliot?
Yeah.
Like just this homepage here, right here, it's so boring compared to what this product actually is. Like now that I've read through this, I know that personally methylene blue is extremely popular right now and trendy. And most people don't know about it yet, but I'm guessing the people that are clicking on ads are coming here wherever they're coming from, like those types of things. Radiance made effortless, advanced skincare powered by nature, perfected by science. We've probably worked with 300, 400 skincare brands within Oddit over the past 4 years. I would say 50% of them probably said the exact same thing. So it's like, what can we say that's a little different here that is ours? Because this is this piece of the site right there, if the traffic is coming here, is the most important to get people to keep going. So like it just needs to do a better job, even showing the bottles or something. It's kind of like that stock photography from nature in the background. It just looks very kind of standard template stock. And again, it's, Radiance made effortless. Cool, sounds cool, but like they're here to purchase now probably. So like, let's get them right to the point. So I think there's a lot of opportunity on this piece.
Yeah. Always you can watch the homepage episode, but this also applies to any landing page. Above the fold, you never want just like a lifestyle picture in the background. You need to show the product. You need to have like a very clear, it says what it does on the tin type headline, not something that's like a branded, this doesn't really mean anything. You could say like, these are products, writing on the spot, like, natural products designed to help improve your radiance. Like that, even that is like a step up. But the third thing I'd also say is always have one single CTA. It's distracting to have shop now in the skincare quiz. If you want to put skincare quiz as an option up there in the nav bar, but you want to really reduce the number of actions someone has to take. So show the product, have a CTA that takes you to that product, and have a headline that like accurately describes that product.
And if the skincare quiz is where you're trying to push people, to incentivize people to take it, just put takes 2 minutes, or something underneath so that they get an idea of what they're getting into. Because a lot of folks just won't take it because they're like, I don't have 20 minutes to do this. So small little things of just like, hey, this is quick, takes 2 minutes of your life, get you the perfect routine.
On to the next one.
Let's do it.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Ty. Yeah, this is painfully accurate because I have a cold coffee to my left that I'm going to take a sip of in a second. So thanks for sharing this, Adam. But already, like immediately, you see it kind of address what we just talked about with Ty's website. So shows the product, has a headline. It's more brandy. It's not just like, this is a coffee heater. It still has fun with it. Incorporates social proof and has like a one direct CTA that's going to take you to that product.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a few things in this header. One, the scrolling band at the top. I don't hate the content there, but because it's where the nav is, I almost don't look at it, even though it's moving. I would just bump that below this header section, add some content between it. So like maybe there's an icon for each that just draws a little more attention to it. The other thing I would say is, and we talk about this a lot on landing pages, I don't want necessarily the page to be the marketing front, and you kind of lead off with a marketing tag, right? If we just strip away this whole page, the product, the brand, the ad, everything, what does that headline tell me? right? Your coffee shouldn't have a deadline. Now, if we just walked down the street or we went through this call with everyone and said, okay, what does that mean to you? We hadn't showed them this page. Some people might say, oh, it keeps my coffee hot longer, but not everyone would understand that. The real compelling line here is it keeps your coffee hot for 6 hours. So just off the bat, that would be my headline, like far and away. And then also just on the image front, I know it's a small thing, but we're talking about keeping coffee hot. Just use AI, use Photoshop, put some steam on that coffee.
Yeah, get that thing piping.
I want that thing looking like it's gonna burn my mouth. You know what I mean? And right now with the lid off, it just doesn't give me that vibe at all. The other thing I saw when I Googled the brand is their headline in Google of what the site is it's the world's first shatterproof ceramic reusable mug. And whether that's true or not, whatever. But this isn't exactly like a exclusive space, right? Some of the biggest cup brands in the world, like I don't know a cup brand or a brand that doesn't make fucking cup, thermos cups, Yeti, Simple, like there's so many, Corksicle. So the fact that it's the world's first shatterproof ceramic and that ceramic has all of these attributes that make it unique, right? Flavor wise and just, I'm sure, keeping it warm. I would highlight some of those more, make the headline about the fact that it keeps it cold for 6 hours, cold. I mean, I guess probably cold or warm for 6 hours is probably a little bit more important. And then the other thing that this page doesn't do tremendously is the brand is black, the text is black, the buttons are black, the cup is black. My wife has about 17 mugs. None of them are black, right? Part of the allure of having multiple mugs is an expression of your style or yourself. Showing a bunch of black and gray and, frankly, boring looking coffee cups is probably not your best bet for conversion. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing you have some pretty unique colors within the different SKUs. I would showcase those more, right? I would even use that image and show various sizes, various colors. Maybe there's a smaller one in pink or whatever, just something to show diversity within the product. I think would be very helpful. Like even when I click on that link in the header, it takes me to 5 different cups. They're sets of 2 for a discount. And, they're diverse. There's blue, black, white, purple, gradient purple with pink, one with a turtle on it. There's a lot of product diversity there in terms of like just drawing attention. And then the other thing is you're not necessarily communicating the offer great. Like it says it in the top band, right? Get 25% off the series. But when I land on this page, the first thing I'm reading is that headline, looking at the image, looking at the action. That headline needs to tell me exactly what makes it great. And then the sub copy needs to tell me what the offer is again. No one knows what the hell a commuter series is, right? When I think the word series, I think that's the collection, not that it's 2 cups, right? And when I click on that link, my understanding, I think, is that the commuter series is that they get 2. I don't know. But that action and what you're calling out there needs to tell them that they're buying 2 cups with up to 25% savings. Like when I go to the next page, the very first one is 25% off a pack of 2. So just say that in the offer. Don't say get mine now. Just be clear. Save 25% now. Save 25% too on a set. Save 25% on a set. Just be super clear in that offer. Don't just risk that they're going to read that tiny piece of copy in the announcement bar at the top. You gotta beat that offer to death, because, like I said, this is a very busy space. We have a lot of competitors, and so that offer is one of the main drivers.
Also, I
I was
see.
just laughing a little bit. There are good things too. Right? Taylor, we can cover some of like the positive sides.
Yeah, but we're not here for good things, Elliot.
Yeah, this isn't what we're here for. We're here to tear this shit down.
I'm not here to rub people's backs.
One thing I will say on the good side is I see in the top like brag bar that's scrolling, it says like 57,000 something happy customers. But then we see, the 4.85 out of 1144 happy reviews. I know that's the actual like verified review count, but it'd definitely be worth testing putting the 57,000 happy customers there as the main header. The stars can still stay. You don't have to say verified reviews. I'm guessing that's just how many you've sold and assuming all those customers are happy and haven't returned it. But that number is just so much bigger right off the hop. And it may be being missed because the reviews are what's highlighted there. But yeah, no.
Right, Adam can play ball. He said that he loves it, so we can keep tearing it apart. I'll be the good cop really quickly before we go to the next one. For everyone else on the call, besides Adam, I hope got a lot of good feedback here. There's a lot of good things that you can learn from Adam's landing page. For example, limited time sale, mentioning scarcity or time-bound offers is always a really good trigger to get people to take an action. I love that I don't really like putting more than one mention in a banner, but the things that you have listed are very good. So a 30-day money-back guarantee, it really de-risks it. If you hate it when you get it, send it back, figure it out. He uses social proof. That's great. I am partial to using kind of like icons and CTAs sometimes, like let's go to the next step instead of just, he does use pretty interesting button copy. So a lot of people just default to saying like buy now or something, but get mine now does feel a little bit more fun. I do agree that this should have steam coming off of it. That would be like the icing on the cake of your creative. But I'll give you credit. Like this speaks to me. Like the busy desk that has cold coffee on it is me right now. So if you hit this, if I had this ad, I would click it and be like, damn, I feel seen.
Yeah.
So kudos for having that.
Yeah, I want to feel like coffee shops won't carry it because they'll have a lawsuit on their hands because the coffee will be too damn hot,
I think one other like common thing with landing pages, and we see this here, is every button on this page takes me to the same spot. It takes me to a collection of these 2-packs, which I think is fine. I would probably, again, because you're not really, at least in the current state, beating that offer to death, take them to the collection of all of them. Show the 2-packs they can get. But like I went on your site, there's like 17, 18 colors. So show those 2-packs, they see the savings. And then just have that collection show all the singles as well, right? Maybe they don't want to. Maybe it's too even with the discount too much. Show the singles as well, because it's going to show the product diversity, more colors, and it's going to show, give them an option that's not as expensive, even though it's not discounted. And then the other thing that there's no real right answer, but all of these actions have different copy. All of them are marketing copy, right? So we have get mine now, never miss a perfect sip, enjoy a premium drinking experience worry-free coffee, and get your stoke. Now, I have no issue with testing different button labels, but my advice would be to test, if you're gonna test button labels, one, delete all of them and start from scratch and say, what is the most communicative button label we can come up with, right? Save on a 2-pack, whatever. Something that's just super clear of exactly where they're going. When I click that button, I want the page that surfaces to be exactly what I thought it was going to be. I don't want any confusion between the two. I click on menu, a menu opens. That's what I want. And so start from a point of clarity and make every button on the page that. Then once you've got that baseline of just a really clear action, this is where you're going, here's the offer. Sure, write some secondary ones. Get my shatterproof mugs. Get my, I'm ready to keep coffee hot for 6 hours, whatever. And test them on alternate, same page, different set of traffic, split test it and make every button on the page that button. It just gets somewhat, imagine going to a homepage and one button says shop bestseller, shop all, shop. That's when you expect to see different button labels, not here when they all go to the same spot. If they're all going to the same spot, they should all say the same thing, if that makes sense. I don't know if everyone agrees with that. That's just my opinion, but.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to do a landing page part 2 because there's so many interesting side topics. I will definitely follow up with a bunch of people with my thoughts on those. We are 20 minutes out. If you're tuning in and you want to get your landing page, whatever it is, ripped apart, submit it in the comments because we have a couple more here that we'll try to get through. So this next one is Vila Shoes, submitted by Ariana.
First thing I would say is I don't know if that pop-up came up right off the hop, that 10% off. If it did, don't do it right off the hop. Do like halftime on site, on exit intent, something like that, because they don't even know what they're in yet, and you're asking for their email. So we tend to see just like lower submissions on that when it's right off of the hop. And also, if it's a true landing page, that email pop-up is something to test not having at all, because it's a sales tool. You're trying to sell them. If you're trying to sell them to sign up for the email and then purchase on site, there's a lot of people that come back and it takes 5 or 6 times on site to purchase. So you're trying to get them that email flow. But if it's a dedicated landing page, it's worth testing not having email collection at all.
Yeah, I would say, so first, this is your homepage, right? My previous point, there's no problem with sending to a homepage, product page, and collection page, depending on the traffic that's going there and like, how warm are the areas? Is this middle of funnel ads? Is people who shop covering you before? Like all of that is very relevant. So you can send to a homepage. I would not send to this homepage. So this is the screen that would load on my phone if I clicked your ad, and all of it is marketing, right? So you have a marketing statement, you have some branded stuff, you have like a positioning statement and stuff. Remember, I clicked your ad. So if I clicked your ad and your ad was doing the right job, it would have been communicating all of these things to me. I'm already here because I buy into that. And it takes way too long for me to find product. Product should like dominate. Either it's one product and you're going to show it as in-depth as possible, similar to the previous example with Stoke, where they did a pretty good job of like addressing every objection, showing you that it's indestructible and then it won't break and spill in your bag and stuff like that. You're sending me here, and I can tell a lot of people probably bounce right away. Because if I'm not looking for one of these 2 products, I don't have enough time in my day to scroll down, scroll left and right, and find something that fits, right? She asked to be ruthless, so you guys have to just not hold back.
There's quite a few products here. Like when I click view all, there's 55 different shoes. I think just very first thing, really simple thing, Ariana, on that announcement bar at the top, never give them an action that doesn't do anything, right? Even the X, like it can be helpful, but even got it isn't clear. And it's essentially just closing that announcement bar at the top. Remove all the clutter copy and just be direct. Free shipping and exchanges on US orders, shop all. That should be that, or shop bestsellers. Don't give them an action that does nothing. Give them an action that takes them to purchase. On the homepage, a lot of people, to Elliot's point, if they land here and they don't see what they like in those first 2 images, they might think you have really limited product SKUs. Somewhere on the homepage, and you could argue it should be above this, just surface the collections, right? Take them down the funnel. So they want large size shoes. Just give them a card. Shop pumps, shop flats, shop heels, and take them to the next step so they're exactly where they want to be. Very few people are coming to your site thinking, I need some winter boots. And then they see a sandal and they're like, you know what? I need a sandal instead. So give them that access point to the collection that they need and get them into a more focused area of the site for what they're actually looking for.
Yeah, I think the top image, like you're selling shoes, right? They're not the front and center. They're kind of just like, here's kind of what we have, but it's more focused on work-driven, sophisticated focus. if you just kind of like bring your shoe line, because they're beautiful looking shoes, that can also just be there as opposed to kind of in the background. And you can still utilize all that hero space with your copy and social proof and everything else. But I'd like to see the shoes off the hop a little better. And we say this on every call we get on. The press bar, it's kind of like table stakes these days. If you go to any website, direct consumer, e-commerce, most people have the press bar with whatever GQ, random logos kind of going by. It's nice. It shows that people are talking about you, but like, I don't know why. Like, did you pay, breakfast television or whatever for an ad? Did they actually like pick you up and give you an award? So if you can give a little bit of like substance there as far as like what they said, if it was like a really good review, then just put that underneath so it brings that to life. Typically customer testimonials, like really good ones, work better than just logos from publications, especially if they're not very focused on like what you sell.
Yeah. One small note, scroll down, Elliot. To the styles in action. So I like that these sections are taking them to specific collections. But this is one of the few areas where you're showing the shoe on a woman really clearly. You have 55 shoes. If this, for whatever reason, captures their attention, make sure they know what shoe that is. So just on this image, just add a little label. This is the XYZ shoe. They can still go shop under $100, and I'm sure that shoe is in there, but tell them which shoe it is. They know what they're looking for. And then I would also just probably beef this up with more collections, right? These take up a ton of space. Under $100 is probably a great and popular collection, but have some more collections here. Make the images a little bit tighter. Maybe you're just showing her lower half and her legs and shoes. But I would include a few more collections here. The other thing that is really common in mobile is making sure that tags and headings are attached to what they're actually attached to. So what I'm getting at is, if we're just sitting right here, scroll a little bit more, Elliot. Right there. Stop there. That heading under 100, it's not, if I'm sitting right here, the heading is not closer to the image above or below. It's equal. It's in the middle. So you can't actually tell which image it's connected to. And when you have this is a rare scenario, there's only 2 images, but imagine this in a collection. There's 55 things they're looking at, and they can't tell which heading is attached to which photo, above or below. It can get confusing. So like this, it's a simple solution. Obviously, just add double the padding below that under 100 tagline, and it'll be more clear visually that it's attached to the image above.
Cool. To move on to the next one.
Sure. Thanks for.
So I have, Ariana. This is really cool. I think like it's great because you have good positioning. So the marketing will definitely, if I was a woman looking for large shoes and I got hit with an ad, like it's probably difficult to shop. You click, you're interested, show them product. They're ready to go. I have Taylor looking for a good food landing page because that was requested in the chat. But while we do that, our favorite category, Luke submitted Eureka Pet and their single protein chicken product landing page.
Sorry, I'm just poking around.
Yeah, I'm doing a quick study. I mean, that's an awesome banner at the top, like a unique offer for sure. I bet if you subscribe, you're going to get free shipping. So that was kind of an expectation. I get free shipping from Chewy at this point if I'm buying nice dog food. But this like definitely comes off as luxurious. My dog would go crazy for this. So imagery is done really well.
One thing I would say, Luke, and we I feel like there's a new dog food brand every day because we have so many customers that are in the dog food space, but it's really common in dog food. And maybe this is just my personal thing, but if I was feeding my kids, right? If I'm going and I'm buying meal replacement packs for a baby, it never asks me 14 questions to define how much I need to feed them. Just like my dog, I can't speak to my baby. So it always blows me away. If you click Elliot on quick calculator there, how much should I feed my dog? I get that all these things probably play into this, but that's a lot of info to gather to just define how much I need. I would find a way to simplify this, like small, medium, large, right? Like don't get into emotional states and shit like that. Just keep it simple to define, because you have different size bags. I'm guessing there's savings as you go up. Yeah. And then you also have a quantity selector. So I wouldn't focus as much on what's the exact amount I need for my dog for this amount of time. Just it's dog food. Like maybe I'm just a bad dog owner, but like when the dog food's almost out, I order more. And subscriptions are really easy to manage. I wouldn't have an action like that takes them off PDP right there and gives them that many questions to answer to figure out how much they need. I would even relabel these from like, you could show kilograms, but just like, you could even add a variant here of what, my dog is small, medium, large. And then these variants of size show you how long it might last. So dog size, small, medium, large. These sizes on the variants then show last 15 days, last 30 days. Again, these are estimations, but
or number of meals, it'd be kind of helpful.
Yeah, like
maybe
exactly. Again, for some reason, the dog space, the pet space, has this like crazy need to it has to be the exact amount for my exact. Like people don't do that with their kids. I have 3 kids. I don't do that with my kids. Why the hell would I do that for a dog? I don't know why it's like that. Dog owners are just different, I guess. But to me, it's just it's overcomplicating what should be a pretty simple experience. That might be just my personal opinion, but I feel like it's overkill for something that's just a bag of dog food.
Well, I mean, I'll cover some goods over here. I mean, I really do like the offer at the top. I think that is differentiated. I think dog owners would absolutely love that. I agree 100% with there being really just like 3 options. It's like small, medium, large dog. I don't really think you have to factor in like how my dog's emotional state is or stuff like that. The edge cases where people are like, I have a super active dog who eats this diet, or maybe I have like a Great Dane that is like humongous. Like those people just order 2 bags or something, but they're like edge cases, not regular. We were talking about this earlier, but like after you scroll a certain amount, having the sticky add to cart thing lower, really great. It's just killer, right? Because either someone's going to land here and this is all the information they need. They see that it's delicious. They see it's a full diet. They see a beautiful dog, fits their lifestyle, whatever. Some people are just more inquisitive or have to deal with more objections before they make a decision. So when they scroll down and you're doing a great job with rich content that looks like it's well produced, it's high quality, it's lifestyle-y. Like I'm sure tons of shoppers that feel like they're like, this lady would love to treat their dog like that. This ingredient section is awesome. It's very cool. I love that you can click into everything. That can be hit or miss. Just sometimes if people go down a rabbit hole and they realize they don't want to learn more, some of these things are pretty simple, like eggs and apple fiber. Like I don't know how much additional information I have to click in to learn about that. You could use badging if it has to do with a particular vitamin or something like that.
I like the if you go to the top, the buy box there, in the subscribe one, the free welcome pack, free treats for life, free shipping. I think those 2 middle ones, free welcome pack, free treats for life, I think can be, I mean, they probably are huge conversion points for you guys, especially because it's not a cheap product. I would give a little more clarity there. Like free welcome pack, is that 2 treats? Is that a sample pack? Is that a dog leash and a dog collar? Is that, what am I getting? And what's the value, right? I'm spending $271. Is the free treats for life worth $200 if they subscribe for a year? Is the free welcome pack have a $70 value? All of these elements are going to give you the ability to tear away at their price sensitivity, right? Even when, Elliot, if you click on free treats for life, this is great, right? Show them a little more info on it. However, it's really long-winded, and you could probably, and it doesn't show the treats, right? This pop-up should show the treat really simply. Here's how much you get each month. Here's the value. Here's a review of how amazing they are, and that's it. It shouldn't be a long-winded disclaimer with all, just get to the point. How much am I getting? How much is it worth? That's it. I don't want to take all their attention away from what they're actually buying. It's just a freebie. And you should probably have the same thing with the welcome pack. You should probably just surface a little pop-up that visualizes it for them. Because again, that's what's going to get them excited, right? There's these little freebies are awesome with products like this because at the end of the day, dog food is not that exciting. So these freebies can add some excitement to the order that, they thought they were ordering one thing and they're getting 6 in the mail. It's going to crush on conversion if it's communicated a little bit more clearly.
Your dog will be pumped.
Go through the image gallery quickly, Elliot.
So start. So
definitely in there, another great thing to do is just add a frame in there, a picture that just says subscribers get 2 freebies, show the freebies, have little, arrows pointing out exactly what it all is and show the value. $50 value on first order, 20 every month. I think, again, a lot of users are shopping through their gallery. Don't sleep on surfacing the same info that's important everywhere else in your gallery.
How many we got left, Elliot? Should we do like 2 comments and just do rapid fire on?
I think we got through them all.
we got through them. I was waiting to see if you had a good food example, maybe off the top of your head.
The confusing thing is we say the word landing pages and we never mean homepage. It's typically like an outside landing page that ads are driven to, but especially in the UK, when we're talking to our UK clients, they call their landing page the homepage. So I can give homepage examples, but our landing page examples are all in Figma that we've designed anyways. And to try and get to them, I need to reach out to the client. But if you want to shoot me a message, hold on a sec. I'll drop this in the chat. If you shoot me a message, who was that? Kimberly? Yeah, if you shoot me a message, I'll send you some examples of good landing pages in the food category.
I apologize, Elliot. I would keep going and do more, but I have a call in 2 minutes.
We might have to do a landing page part 2.
Yeah,
we got some last minute ones.
There's so many different types of landing pages. We do a lot of 5 reasons why, depending on where it is in the funnel, top of funnel, lower in the funnel, there's all different kinds, and then specific products too, right? It doesn't always have to be a beautiful landing page with that same structure. We see some of the ugliest sales type landing pages that convert extremely high because that is the target market they're looking at, especially when it comes to fat loss supplements or anything that's vanity kind of based. Usually some ugly long form sales landing pages work really well, and we can try and help optimize those a little as well. We usually don't do massive overhauls on those because it's working, but there is specific elements we can put in there to make it more shoppable and incentivize purchase.
I love those direct response pages that are kind of lots of copy, goes on forever, shows exactly. I think those work really well. And I think we need to stop saying that they're ugly. I think it's become a thing, is calling high performance direct response things ugly. The reason people say that is because we've become conditioned that DTC means very high produced.
Yeah.
And high produced is not equal converting well. Get that in your head, and the sooner you can do that, the better storefronts you build, the better landing pages you build. But we're at time here. I did want to give us both a chance to plug. So if we're Platter, we help build optimized storefronts for Shopify brands. If you want to come to our website, you can book a call or get a free audit of your full storefront. We're also launching our app next week for checkout and post-purchase optimization. And we'd love for all Shopify brands to reach out. We'll give you basically a bespoke onboarding for that. So hit us up.
Same with us. We've got free trial on our site. I just dropped it into the link there. Give us 48 hours. We send back a redesign of a section, kind of the thought process behind it. And then I drop my email in there too. Feel free to shoot me a direct email. We can hop on a call and we can go through landing pages. We can go through whatever you want. The intention of our sales calls is not necessarily to sell you. It's to see if we're a fit and we can kind of help you point you in the right direction of where we can help. So feel free to always hit us up if you have any questions.
Cool. It was great speaking with you guys. Let's do landing page part 2, I guess.
Done.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.